Hey everybody, so today we are changing venues. You can see over there, this is the AMC of the area, and we are here to see Brightburn because Brightburn is apparently not really playing any fucking where in the area that we live. Not least in the normal things. Fucking Aladdin is on like 25 fucking screens in the area, but we managed to find a place that had a decent showing and has fucking comfortable seats. So we are now seeing Brightburn out here at the AMC. So I've been looking forward to this flick. This is probably one of the few movies that I've really been looking forward to. And not because the Gunns are attached to this film, but because I really like the premise, and I've always kind of wanted to see what would happen in this type of movie. So for those that don't know, the idea is, what if Superman decided to be evil as a kid and use his powers to wreak havoc on mankind versus help it? So it's very interesting. I know the critic score. I haven't really heard the audience score, at least from Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't always agree with the Rotten Tomatoes aggregate. I don't agree with most aggregates, honestly, because they're all fucking arbitrary. And how something could be like, hey, it's a B+, but then you find out it's 4 out of 5. Wait, I understand with the percentages, but I just feel like there has to be some type of human factor that should be in that would determine that this is the right fucking score for the thing. So, nonetheless, I've been looking forward to this movie. I hope that it's creepy. I hope that, it gets a little out of hand. I really hope it doesn't degrade towards the end of the film. That's my biggest worry, is that it's going to start out really fucking cool and that everything's going to look great, and then all of a sudden it's going to get to the end and it's just going to fucking shit on itself. And that's my biggest fear with this. So, looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. If anybody has seen the flick, I know that friends of the podcast Beyond the Void, they're going to be doing an episode on it this week. And so I feel really good that I'm able to see this before I hear them talk about it. So I'm looking forward to that, I guess. But with that being said, we'll find out what everybody else is going to think about it. This time I'm not going by myself. I am going with the normal people. So, because they're actually in town this weekend on a nice, lovely, long weekend. So, with that being said, we'll see you in a bit with the thoughts from everybody else. So, see you soon. It's everybody there. The fuckers are there. Fucker number 1, fucker number 2, and my cousin. Even though he's my cousin also. So what does everybody think?
I'm just waiting to see this twist on the Superman story. Like I said, I'm assuming DC gave permission for it. And I want to see how it is. Like, do they stop him? Is it just going to be like, he's going to grow up and massacre people, or what?
Oh, I'm going to have to blur out that hat.
Why?
You know why. What do you think?
I think it might be interesting. Depending on how it ends, I'm pretty sure they might, if it does well, they might do another one or a follow-up.
I'm just here for the popcorn.
Oh, good. Okay, hello everybody. We're back after Brightburn has been finished. And so I would say initial thoughts, Patrick.
I am satisfied. I mean, like we were talking about, once again, a little bit of the trailer maybe showing a little too much.
Yeah, that was something for me. There's something in the trailer that happens. It kind of ruined the ending of the movie for me, but it's not like a big ruin for the movie. Like, the rest of the movie is perfectly fine. I was very satisfied with the film. And maybe not on the level of you, but I think that it was still a very entertaining film.
Oh, I'm gonna, and without saying too much, I mean, we obviously know from any trailer some of the stuff that happens. I feel like the gore factor in it
was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
It's a lot better than I've seen in a lot of horror movies lately.
Yeah.
And this ain't a horror movie.
Well, it's rated R too, so that's why you got a little bit extra. A lot of the horror movies that we've seen lately, it's PG-13 primarily, and it, or if it's rated R, it's because of the language, which is like,
fuck.
Okay, yeah, exactly, fuck. But I was very surprised with it. A couple of things were a little bit more than I expected. There's one that's in the middle, I guess you would call like the second kill of the film. That one was pretty, it wasn't a full kill at that point, but what happened to the guy, fucking gross. But it was cool. Like, it looked great. There was really like weight behind what he did. Like, I enjoyed that. The only thing that I have to say for it, maybe this hindered my enjoyment of it a little bit, was that I felt like he turned way too fast. Like, I wish that he had found out about his powers, like, a little slower. Like, I would be okay with adding, like, an extra 20 minutes to the film so that he was learning that he's going, because all of a sudden it's like, there's a scene in the trailer, and that's why I think you can kind of say it, where he reaches for the lawnmower, and they show you that thing, but that's, like, how he figures out that he has powers.
Yeah. But, because, okay, comparing this to, say, Superman story. Yeah. That's a similar way of how he found out. With some kind of mower thing. But, like, obviously, the difference, though, is between, say, Clark Kent and Brandon Byer, was it? Yeah, Byer. Okay, so, the reason why it took Clark Kent so long to realize his powers, and they came slower, was because he put like a mental block on himself, which might sound stupid with comic books. He put this mental block because he didn't want to believe that he was from outer space. Yeah. Whereas Brandon, in a sense, embraced it without saying too much how he found out or anything else, but kind of more embraced the belief of that he's not here. There was not from here. There was like a mental block, I would say, on it, but it wasn't a mental block as in he put it on himself. The mental block came from and I would say minor spoilers, came from the ship, right? Because even in the beginning of the movie, it's kind of calling out to him. Yeah. Right at the start, and then he just accepts it when he's finally able to actually see the ship. So I guess that you can say in that sense that like you said, there isn't the mental block, but there's like a physical, I don't even know if it's a physical block. I don't know, what would you call it? An alien block? There's an alien block on him. Well, it's not a cock block. You know? Yeah, it's not a cock block. He did get kind of cock blocked in one scene. And I was really glad that they didn't go any further on that, because I was afraid that they were going to try to do something more. Kid rape? Yeah, exactly. Again, minor spoilers. Kid on kid rape. Kid on kid violence. But there was kid-on-kid violence. There was. And that's in the trailer, too. So, though that was even kind of horrific. Like, they really zoomed in on it, and I didn't expect that to actually see it. And then there's, like I said, there's something towards the end of the movie that when they say something, and it's like, you catch right away who they're talking about. And, I somehow want this to be like, tied in with a violent DC universe, which I know won't be a violent DC, just be a parody universe. Like we have, they're actually forming the Legion of Doom, but that's just what it is in this world, which we talked about it a second before we got in the car. And I really wonder, do they know what Superman is? Like, do those comics exist in this world? And like, can they compare him to that? Yeah. I mean, like I said, we would need more what's the word I'm looking for? Like more specifics? Story, more content. Story. I mean, who knows? They might turn this into a comic book series and I'm pretty give you more shit. I think that they probably will, because I think that in my opinion, I think it's so well done and it's well written. There's a couple things that are really fucking stupid. There's a scene with a bullet that I think is a little dumb. And that's where I ask, do they know about Superman? Because they say some things, and without, I don't want to get into any of the spoilers, but there are things said where I'm just like, personally, I might not have tried it, but that's, I guess, what's going on in this world. Maybe there's so much force it'll work. I don't know. But I feel like the acting's pretty good. I think Elizabeth Banks did a pretty good job as the mom. I think pretty much anything Elizabeth Banks in is... her part will always be golden. Yeah, she's usually pretty good. I mean, I was surprised with her in Power Rangers. I was saying, I don't understand why. I think she was pretty good. I don't understand why she didn't try to summon Goldar to, save her. And then here, she can go rob a bunch of banks, get a gold, become Leprechaun for a little bit. They're after me, gold! I need Goldar! But yeah, I think that there were a couple of things I just kind of felt that were, like I said, in some of the characters' minds, I thought was stupid as things like progressed, and I think that he progressed a little too fast to being like super evil and being like that. But he, like you said, he totally accepted that role
and embrace that evil side. And there's a little bit of foreshadowing right in the beginning of the film, because they talk about the difference between wasps and bees. And I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going to go with this. Like, I actually, even though you kind of like look at it like, oh, okay, but I actually really enjoyed listening to that. And I thought that was a really cool setup, because it kind of starts like, oh, okay. And then he goes into it further, and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes total sense then.
Yeah.
And I feel like that maybe also kind of prepared me for the ending of the film, but I do feel like the trailer ruined the ending for me.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say this without, I feel like we'll talk about it off.
Well, we can talk about it off air, yeah. I don't want to ruin anything on this, and I don't really, I'm not sure what else that we can say then for the rest of it. I mean, do you have, I guess, final thoughts? Maybe this will be a quick one.
I mean, I honestly hope they expand on this world and do more movies. And, like, I want to see how we fight back on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can try to survive? Is there like a Batman of this world that's going to
stop everything?
I don't know, but something. I really wish they would expand.
There's some villainous rich guy where his parents actually survived, and he just went on to be evil because of it. I don't know.
Or maybe Bruce died, or the son died, and the father became. That's actually in the Flash paradox that happens.
So the other thing I should say is one of his superpowers knitting? Because how did he create that mask so goddamn fast?
He has super speed.
He has super speed, and he knows how to fucking knit
he's super
right
smart.
away.
I mean, you should be able to learn how to knit. It's not that hard. It's
like
over a new line.
But like literally, he like embraces the power. In the next scene, he's got the fucking mask, like, and then he fucking. There is one scene where like he doesn't have, and then all of a sudden he like does like, was there a phone booth nearby that he jumped into, and all of a sudden the mask was there? Because where did he put the fucking, like, how does he carry it? Is it like,
maybe it was in his bag? But
in his bag, but he wasn't wearing. He just was wearing a jacket. Like, it was it underneath the shirt.
But he has super speed. If it was it was in his bag.
Oh, so he could just fly back to the bag, get the mask, and fly back out to wherever he was. And he's got like the ability to just fucking disappear. I don't know how many times.
It's super speed.
Super speed, my ass. You still can see somebody move away for a second.
No.
Fumble around with shit, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and now he's back.
Flash,
what the fuck, man?
You can Flash and move so fast you can't see him.
Yeah, but you can still, hear him.
Not always.
Yeah, you can hear the Flash.
Just because they put sound effects in there, you can.
It's fucking like the Roadrunner, okay? Me, pew.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and Wild E. Wolf.
Yeah, Wile E. Wolfie, man. That's
Coyote, damn it.
No, alternate universe. Wile E. Wolfie.
Coyote.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good film. I think that it could have used some things to expand upon itself. I actually, this is one of those films where I feel that it needed more time. I think it needed a slower progression for him. It was totally not what I thought at the beginning, where I was like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of cool things that happen in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's going to trail off and it's going to be stupid. It didn't do that. Actually, it kept being interesting all the way through the film. So, Pat, if you have to rate the film, what would you rate this film? Since you have to.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 broken wrists out of 5.
I'm going to give it like a 3.5 loose jaws out of 5. I think that, like I said, I can't quite give it a 4, but I think that it's still a pretty solid film.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't go full 5 was basically like you said too. It could have used some more time, and I wish there would have been a couple more killings or something. You know what I mean? Like, now, yeah. I know it's a superhero movie, and it doesn't need to be horse fest and everybody needs to die, but
it doesn't. But it
could have been a little bit more evil. Like some of the stuff they were showing towards the end, I'll say, leave it at that, could have happened during the movie.
There's 2 kills towards the end of the movie where one, it was brutal without you really seeing much, right? And then the other one, like him actually doing this stuff, is in the background, and I didn't quite like that. Like that, I would have liked to have seen more up front. And I feel like in some ways they shied away from certain areas of showing more violence than possibly they could have. I don't know, like you said, I would love to see this be expanded upon. I'd love to see it be a whole nother universe of evil superheroes and the way that we fight back. how do we, there's only one person that knows his weakness, in the entire film, and how do they expand upon that?
Yeah.
But I still think, again, I think the movie's good. I think it's very entertaining. It just has some things that kind of just drop it a little bit for me. So that being said, Patrick, plug.
You can find me, Paranormal Pat, on the Paranormal Pativity podcast. You can find my Twitter, Instagram, and IGTV at Paranormal Pat64. Email me if you've ever had any experiences or you just like to talk back and forth. Paranormal Pat64 at gmail.com, and YouTube, Paranormal Pat Activity podcast.
And as always, all that stuff is in the links below down there. You can click and subscribe and hit the little bell for when we do another little of these terrible movie reviews and you see Krampus come through. Ooh, Krampus. But yeah, so also the links for everything for Terrible Terror also down below. I won't regurgitate that stuff, but do check out the last review with Wiley Wolfie in there for the hole in the ground, and also for the upcoming Skeleton Cop. So we'll see you next time, possibly talking about Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Does he have any skeleton keys, by the way? Skeleton Cop?
I don't know. Maybe he should.